All right, let me move this little ring light back. I felt like drinking a little coffee because I had a little, and I felt like having a little coffee because the coffee kind of, I don't drink it all the time. I don't drink it every day because it had me kind of like, and a girl that had enough experience with, but anyway, I put a little honey in it sometimes, so that's what I got in it, so it won't be bitter. I found the bones that I was telling y'all about that I'm getting ready to paint today. And so these are the bones that I saved from the meal that we ate. These are ashtrays that the boys made. But these are the bones that I'm going to turn into jewelry so you'll be able to see them the next time. So I want to talk really briefly about what the stroll brought up for me. Um, I was told that the director of the film, y'all could leave the names in the comment section later, that the director of the film was actually a subject in a film that I think took place in like 2004 or 2007, and it was an amazing job. Like everyone who played a part in it, everyone who contributed to it, they did an amazing job. It is one of the best documentaries I've seen. It's kind of like the last Whitney Houston one. Like I felt like that was the most authentic story that I've seen told about Whitney because it made her look more whole. It showed more of who she was instead of just depicting her in a narrative or painting her a certain way. It kind of really, really, really showed you her as a whole person and the sacrifices she made to be Whitney. And that's how I felt like the stroll was. I felt like the stroll told the story of those girls in New York, the things that those girls experienced in the um, district, in a way that not only humanized them, but also gave them, a soul because all humans, don't really act like they have a soul. Yeah, I know y'all can see up my dress, but I have on drawers today, so you're okay. You're all right. But what I'm getting ready to talk about really, really briefly in this video is something that I thought maybe I would take to my grave. So I'm finna spill some personal tea right now that only a select few people know. But I feel like I have to I have to talk about this because the stroll made me think about how, as a community and a culture of people, we many of us have had to navigate sex work. Not all of us, but even if you've never had to do sex work as a means of survival, as a means of sustaining yourself, as a means of having a better quality of life, whatever reason you've had to engage in sex work, um, in our community, 9 times out of 10, your way of seeing the world, your way of viewing the world, your way of engaging and navigating the world has probably impacted someone around you, someone close to you. And so, by proximity, same as having HIV. So many of the girls in our community are impacted by HIV. And so it impacts girls who are not impacted by way of stigma. You know what I'm saying? And so the stigma around sex work and the stigma around having to navigate sex work is such a big overarching umbrella for us in the community that we all have to do the work involving sex work. We all have to do some work around, healing our minds as it involves the perception of how people who are associated with sex work have been demonized because of it, have been generalized and stereotyped because of it. So that work is a work that is unavoidable for those of us who've never even had to navigate life in that way as sex workers. And so, what it made me think about is a lot of times when I went out and I was having sex with these men, a lot of times I was being sexually assaulted. And even if they were paying me, even if I was doing it out of my own free will because he wasn't gonna take me to jail if I did it. So I had a choice. I could go to jail or I could suck this dick. You know what I'm saying? I could I could not have no money to pay for my hotel room tonight, or I could get screwed by this man and suck this dick. I could not have the money to go and buy me things for myself and to be able to live life in a manner in which made me happy, despite how the church felt about me, despite government not acknowledging me, despite there being some distance between myself and my family because they weren't equipped to understand me. And so that those resources that I could get from those men who could have their way with me. Come on now, I'm going somewhere. Those resources that I could get from those men who have the upper hand because I needed what they had in their pocket and I was willing to do what I had to do. Like sex work, I'll never condemn it. I'm not going to put, what you're not going to hear me do is put sex work down. But what I am gonna do is expand the conversation to the point of where we have to address how a lot of times these men who are doing these acts with us don't respect us. How many tricks, how many Johns have showed up at your rallies? How many Johns and how many tricks have showed up at your marches? How many Johns and how many tricks that watch you clapping and jiggling and shaking and bouncing and twerking and bipping and bopping online? How many of them show up for you when it's time? Like that is what, and see, we expected for the gay community to do that for us and the lesbian community to do that for us. But what you have to understand is it was the gays sleeping with the gays. So when the rally came, the gays showed up for each other because they were sleeping with each other. When the lesbians, when they went through the march and the rally, they were showing up for each other because they could blend in society still. So it was lovers showing up for lovers. But the people who loved us did not show up for us. And in that lies a lack of respect. And that is how you equate it to sexual assault. See, we say it's consensual adults. We say, oh, I'm getting paid for this. You're getting paid to be assaulted. You're getting paid to be disrespected. You're getting paid to be diminished. You're getting paid to have a low opinion of yourself. You're getting paid to feel small while you get somebody else off. We thought it was just about them getting a nut. No, it was a little bit more sadistic than many of us have thought to imagine. And that wasn't even addressed in this piece. We are still now just understanding the survival aspect of it. And it was beautifully, the story was beautifully told. I cried in the end. Powerful, powerful, powerful. because it was authentic. But at the same time, we are not wrestling with what is happening in this culture of sex work in a patriarchal society when many times it is the being who is one with breasts, one with curves, one with hair, one giving this feminine aesthetic that is having to submit for resources, having to go to him. Take me to the king. I don't have much to bring. That culture. My heart is torn in pieces. Yeah, that culture. Take me to the king. I ain't got nothing. I need him. Help me, save me. Use me. Bruise me. And so understanding that. Oh, I'm not gonna cry today. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm not gonna go there. And I'm not gonna be on here long because everybody don't deserve to see me be emotional and be vulnerable. That's why I stopped going live all the time. Because I love helping people. I love helping people to heal. But I don't know if my message is not helping you, because a lot of y'all benefit from my stories. But when I ask you to help me and to sow into me, I don't know if you just going through so much in your own personal life, or if you just been so messed over that you just don't have faith in anything anymore. And I know what it feels like not to have faith in people, because so many people have let me down. But one thing that I've never done is given up on my community. My community has let me down so many times. I could have been just like Marsha P and Sylvia Rivera, because I had went crazy. I get a check on the first right now that I earned every dollar of. Because baby, I've been up and I've been down. I've been praised and I've been adored. I met all kinds, trampled over this world. Yes, honey. In the rat races, in the fast places, whatever offer me. But guess what? I'm good because I learned how to use my art to heal myself. I walked away from the BS of trying to please people and trying to make other people happy and living for people who didn't care about me unless I could give something to them, give more to them. Y'all wanted me to give everything to y'all, and then when I was done, when I was an empty husk, when I was a dead, empty, hollow mass, because see, let me tell you something. I say this all the time. Flies will gather to shit. All of these people with thousands of people and millions of people on their page following them, waiting for the next turd to drop, waiting for the next hot turd to drop. Because that's all it is a hot, steamy turd. And once that turd drop, and it's done dried out, y'all on to the next hot, steamy turd. That's why when you hear people talking about, I'm the shit. Baby, I know I'm the shit. Yeah, you is the shit. You that hot steamy turd that just dropped and the flies is gathering to consume that piece of shit. Flies will gather to shit. So I don't need a million people because a lot of people are not quality. I don't need quantity. I need quality people around me. I don't need a whole bunch of people I spy on me, putting intentions on me that are not evolved, that are not aware, that are not present, that have been brainwashed by the muckery and the fuckery. I don't need you putting your intentions on me, because everybody that got a coin ain't got a conscience. Let me say that again for the slow people in the back row. Everybody that got a coin ain't got a conscience. You can have wealth and not be woke. And so you won't care about your neighbor. But back to the subject. Because guess what? A lot of y'all measuring success by how much you got in your banking account. But I measure it by my peace. When peace like a river attend at my way. My peace means I'm not always sitting in front of the camera screaming and hollering. My peace means I'm not always talking about tragedy and sorrow and woe and telling it's just another sad love song rocking my brain like crazy. Guess I'm all torn up. Every time you look around, bitch, you're sad. You're miserable. You're screaming and hollering. You judging somebody, you putting somebody down, you condemning, you critiquing. Girl, where is the joy? Where's the peace? You got all these coins, but you're miserable. Anyway, I want to share this I want to share this page. I want to share this story, and when I share this story, you're going to understand why I wanted to talk about this subject. So this is my book, Becoming Purple. It is out now on Amazon. It is on Writers Republic. Yeah, you could Google it online. It is Becoming Purple, my personal Bible of recollecting reflections. This is a image that I took while I was in South Africa. So the cover of the book is while I was in South Africa. Each chapter has pictures in it. Each chapter has a picture that's important to me. And so that chapter was like me wrestling with the church and what I went through with the church. And so that's why I had like a little church in my hand. This is Marsha P. Johnson, Asada Shakur, and Francis Thompson. And I painted that picture. So I chose some of this is one of the pictures with me and my indigenous art on because y'all know I went through weighing the indigenous face paint for a while. So every chapter has like a little picture that kind of sets the tone of the story. Um, but wait a minute, did I lose the page? So yeah. So on page 146, I start to talk about my relationship with Sasha. And then I want to elaborate about that a little bit more after I finish. Sasha, another on the path being mixed Caucasian, Jewish, Aborigine, was there with us through it all. She was like our best friend. We would one day share a season as lovers because of her devotion. She was 31 years our senior. And when we were introduced to testosterone, we tormented Sasha with ravenous aggression. But she took it all in stride. Sasha would prove to be a more devoted companion as time went by. She tended to us after a week of healing. We went to the ocean and performed a ritual in the waters. We had fully embraced the mother within us, which is interesting. Our life path number is 3 when we were born, and then our second life path number is 4. And 4 is traditionally associated with the goddess. And so, let me see if it's any more in there. But that's the part that I want to focus on right now because I brushed over that. But when I got the testosterone in me, I started to tap back into that maleness that male side that had been suppressed in me when I was 29 years old and I had my orchiectomy. So I had my orchiectomy. I think the month before I turned 29. So I turned 29 in June, but I had my orchiectomy that May. And so this was 2014. So I had my orchiectomy. Um, no, not in 2009. Excuse me. I'm telling a whole lie. I had my orchiectomy in 2006. Yeah, and I was turning 29. Okay, so that was where the nine came from. But it was in 2006. It was right after Katrina. Yes, ma'am. I had took some of that FEMA money and went and had my orchiectomy. Some of that FEMA money from Katrina. I sure did. I sure did. I sure did. I sure did. I took that FEMA money and went and had me a orchiectomy. Girls was going to get implants and stuff. I said, no, ma'am, let's remove this. Let's. My grandmother used to tell me, shit, to get off the pot, baby. And I was ready to get up off that pot. If I'd had enough to get that coochie, then I would have got it. I don't know if I would have been ready for it, but cause I think everything happened when you ready. But if they would have gave me enough money to get that cooch, I would have went and got that snatch. But yeah. So my testosterone levels had decreased from 2006 all the way to 2014. My testosterone levels was hit by then, Um, and a lot of things, because I was brought up in a culture of sex work. Imagine having your testicles removed, which, for all intents and purposes, in this reality, is supposed to be your manhood. Imagine having what little fight you had in you, um, you understanding it this way, because now we know better. We can look at me and we can see that being a sex change, we can look at other examples of sex changes and see that just because a girl is a sex change don't mean that this girl is just about to roll over and die and this girl just about to give up. You know what I'm saying? um some things ain't worth fighting. Everything ain't get my energy. I'm not invested. I don't have energy for everything. But if it's something that I believe in, something that I love, and something that speaks to me loudly, then yes, honey, it's gonna be a rumble in the Bronx. It's gonna be a rumble in the city in New Orleans. It's gonna be a rumble wherever. You know what I'm saying? But going through that process and having that part of me removed, that part that contributed to that fight and that aggression, and then moving to Louisiana, moving back to Louisiana because I had it done in Georgia, moving back there as the change really began to set in. Imagine you being indoctrinated sort of into a culture where you've normalized being sexually assaulted by people who have the power to grant you resources. Let me say that again because I know a lot of things I be saying to be going over y'all head. Imagine being indoctrinated into a culture for more than 20 years of feeling like you had to submit to people because they had resources for you. And then your body chemistry changing, and you're not equipped to deal with that because I didn't have any friends who had orchiectomies. I didn't have any close friends who were sex changes. So I didn't know how my thinking was going to change. I didn't know how any of that was going to change. People were saying, "Oh, the rumor was that sex changes go crazy. The rumors that was that girls with orchiectomies went crazy." But imagine having that part of your body removed and then having to navigate a society in which you have been conditioned to think of yourself as someone who was naturally supposed to submit to people who were able to offer you resources and stability. And so when I met Sasha, that was the place I was still in. Because I met a lot of people after that. And and I'm gonna be honest. I always made the assumption. At one time, I made the assumption that all Caucasian people had resources, even though I had lived around people in trailer parks. Like, I don't know. I guess because I dealt with such a high volume of Caucasian people who had coins and who were able to pass through your life and give you resources and keep it moving. I just started to look at a lot of Caucasian people as piggy banks. Because I didn't really trust Caucasian people to, because all of the Caucasian people that I had known in my life, I had some close relationships with them, but all of them were fair weather and very flaky. A lot of Caucasian people, um, they have a profound sense of loyalty to other Caucasian people. A profound, and then don't let it be their biological family, you know. And I think that's why incest is so rampant, in amongst them. I don't, I, I think we'll get into incest on another day because that's a whole nother topic. But and that's what I saw with Sasha initially was this, I love you and I want us to be together, but it was still my family comes before you. And is that a way to undo all that has been done to black people, indigenous people, queer people, like that loyalty to the way things were? And my childhood was very different. My relationship to my family was very different. We give to our parents, in our culture. When you get a certain age, um, I can't speak for all black people because some black people will take care of their children so they can control their life. But white people, Caucasian people will legit give to their family just to give to their family. It's not really about controlling your life. It's just I got extra and you need it, and maybe I'm trying to get you to forgive me for not being there when you was growing up or whatever. Maybe I'm giving to you out of guilt trip. But I know there are black people who will help their children as a means to control them when they're grown. But for the most part, a lot of times we give back to our parents, and so that's where the culture was different. You can't help your partner who you understand their background, you know what they've been through, you know where they come from, and you can't help your partner because you over here still taking care of your grown children. So that was a red flag for me and our relationship. And also, it was just certain things that I wasn't willing to do because it brought up my trauma for me. Because Sasha did transition late in her life, and you know, things about her are still identical to before her transition. Like, like certain things just have not been switched over, certain things have not been changed. And so I was uncomfortable with performing certain acts on her. And I know what it's like to be labeled a predator because we remember, a few years back when Empathy called me a predator because I had rubbed my booty on her piece while she was at my house. Well, while she was at Sasha's house with me, the irony was that we was at Sasha's house. When she called me a predator, I was around the person who has given me predator vibes. So that was interesting. And I'm not, saying I'm innocent when I rubbed my booty up on her piece, but you know, to play the whole tape, when Empathy was around me the first time, nothing like that ever happened. Nothing sexual happened between us. I didn't even look at her like that. And then Empathy comes back from Texas with hair all over her body, smelling, more in tune with her masculinity, and then kissed me on my mouth with them big old juicy lips. And I just got a little confused because I didn't even see her as masculine. Like, it was just newfound masculinity. And I was like, yes, on the slick. And so I really don't feel like that was predatorial. I think it was just like a moment of confusion. But for people who don't know how me and Sasha ended up being together and who, actually crossed that line first, as far as intimacy went between us, Sasha, with her old self, has a habit of being aggressively inappropriate in private. And I know some people will watch this video and say, "Well, why would you, bring her into the community, or why would you bring her around us like that?" And my response is that she's old. She's not in those years of where I really feel like she could push a girl down. Like I don't think that Sasha's the type of person that will drug you. I don't think she's the type of girl that will roofie you. I don't think she's the type of girl that'll try to kidnap you or do no shit like that. But do I think that she'll try to slide up close on you and get in your face? You know what I'm saying? And grab you and pull you close? Do I think that she might, try to grope you or some shit like that if she feel like she can? If, she feel like she can get away with it? Has she been that person before? Yeah. And I think that I'm not going to say it's harmless. And I'm also not going to say she's a monster either, because she grew up as a Caucasian man and she's in her 70s, and so I think it just process. I think she comes from a different way, and living that way for so long, old habits die hard. And so, but I do know that there are inappropriate moments that have happened with her. There's been moments where I felt really awkward, really uncomfortable. There's been moments where my friends have felt really awkward and my friends have felt really, really uncomfortable. And that's why I wanted to bring this up. Could we love and respect our abusers? And I think it's a very real question, because some of us had dates and tricks and sugar daddies that we saw for years and years, and the whole relationship was about disrespect. I was talking to one of my sisters on the phone, and she, got married a few years back, and she was telling me about how she had to cut it off with her sugar daddy because he literally like was disrespecting her. Like he wanted to come at the rudest times, like when she had to stop what she was doing for him, and you know what I'm saying. And it was just a power play for him all the time. Like, even though he was good to her financially and gave her so much, it took so much out of her dignity wise. It took so much out of her as a woman to always feel like she had to drop what she was doing, or that she had to be submissive, or he was gonna play with that coin. And so there's a culture, like there are girls who will literally go so far. You know what you're supposed to do for that man. You know what you got to do for him, and it's that take me to the king. I don't have much to bring. My heart is torn in pieces. It's that. It's that culture. It's that, and it's the normalizing of that. And I love Tamala Man, and I think that Tamla Man has a different intent when she's saying it, but it still translates like that for so many of us, that we have to make ourselves vulnerable, and we have to accept, this abuse. We have to accept this disrespect. We have to accept it, and some of those behaviors do carry over from our old lives. Some of those behaviors do. And that's why I check myself when I'm around men who I'm attracted to, when I'm around masculine beings who I'm attracted to, or even feminine beings who give me masculine energy and I'm attracted to them. I don't I don't do harmful things to them. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got relationships with certain people where we play like that. You know, it's never crossed the line. It's never been a sexual thing, but we do give that. Like we kiss, you know, we cuddle, we do all that, but we've never went beyond it, and that's why it was so confusing for me when it went left with empathy. But I knew when things went to left with me and Sasha, I knew she wanted to go further. And because again, I saw her as a resource. I saw her as stability. And she was also there when no one was there when I got ready to go through my surgery. And I never take that from her. And that's why I wrote about her positively in this book. But I want to make sure that it's also a record of the not so cute truths. Um, I felt like I was there for her physical gratification a lot of times, and I felt like she told me things to uplift me, but what she really wanted was for me not only to give her pleasure, but for me to bring friends around her that she could also be pleasured by. You know, and I think that's why she was so hunky dory with me having male partners, because it's like, okay, if I support her in having these male partners, then maybe I can have some of her girlfriends. Maybe we all can have. I don't know if you remember this kind of risque video that I made a couple of years back. I don't know if I could find it now. I think it's gone, but it was me, her, and Ariana laying in the bed. When I tell you, did you see what she gave in that video? She was so happy. Oh my goodness, she was so happy. I think the only thing that would have made her happier is if it would have been another black girl, because she loved black women. Trans, pre-op, post-op, female. Love them! That's all she be on the phone with. That's all she talk to. And I'm not going to go into detail about all that because that's not really my business. But I'm talking about this because I still love Sasha. I still care about Sasha as a human being. But in a lot of ways, it was predatory. And people will justify it because of how she helped me. But I aligned myself with her because there were things that I needed to do in community, and Sasha offered the safe space, a safe enough space. I'ma say that. A safe enough space. Now Sasha would have been like 50 years old or 45 or something like that. Probably wouldn't have worked out because I'd have had we'd have been, because it did give you the tease of the tease sometime, like Miss Baby had, like Miss Baby had done some, like Miss Baby had to rape somebody back in the G, like it gave you that type of tease sometime. But by her being so old, she was harmless, you know, pretty much. Like I off me, Sasha, stop playing, you know. And it's even weird normalizing that. You know, I'm gonna be honest, but let's be real. Like those of us who have a history, herstory, heritage, and sex work, we understand that normalizing f stuff, you know, um, that's common, you know, and I had to position myself in a certain way in the movement to whereas I could be an asset and a resource to my loved ones and be able to help them. There were people around me who needed help, people around me who needed me to be stable, people around me who didn't need me going back out into the street in my early 40s trying to hustle and risking, you know, being out there in the street strung out and dying. Like I had to go to the lesser of evils. I couldn't really go back to my family because my mama traumatized. And let's be clear, there's a certain level of stigma that goes with trans people, queer people, whole beings coming to your house because of this stigma about sex work, because of this stigma about all the things that we've done. A lot of family members don't want you staying with them Cause they think you finna be turning tricks in their house while they gone. They think you finna be in there getting high. They think you gonna have niggas running in and out the house. Niggas is I mean, that's what they think. Like I had a whole uncle in my family that didn't trust me in his house while he wasn't there, cause he thought for some reason that I needed to have me in his, and that's never been my character. Now don't get me wrong. When I was young, when I was a lass, I did used to sneak boys in the house when I was 15, 16 years old. But I was a child. I was young. I ain't child, I didn't know though. I didn't know better. Like I was 15, 16 years old. I was so dumb and weak and had nut on the brains for these little boys. So, 15, 16 years old being hot, mannish, whatever you want to call it. I was out there, but that is not who I am today at this age. That does not rule me. That does not control me. I am obviously not controlled by my genitalia if I had it refashioned into a vagina. This girl don't control me. Now, when I take that testosterone shot, I ain't gonna lie. A girl be ready. A girl be ready, Freddy. But baby, a girl, she know when to not take them. She know when to calm down. She know when to get her life together. She know when, ma'am, you doing too much. You need to slow down. Pooh, you doing too much. Calm down. Calm down. Ma'am. And that's the season I'm in right now. Ma'am, calm down. But and that's another thing that kind of forced that alliance is that because I have such a powerful energy, because I have I just really have an energy that commands a lot of attention. I wasn't able to go and live with family. I was not able to go and live with family. And so and a lot of my relationships with the trans community, um it's so many of us in the trans community that are extremely hurt and extremely damaged and extremely harmful to ourselves, and so we can't really hold space for each other. And that was another thing that the stroll brought up for me. I cried when I thought about how we used to be back then. I like as much visibility as it's given us and as much resources as it's given us. One thing that we had before this money came, before all of these cameras and lights came, was we had each other. Now a lot of times we're agreeing in each other's face for the public, we're agreeing in each other's face in front of the camera, but we really don't like each other off camera. We really don't like each other off scenes. We were so loyal to each other. And get this clear. Loyalty does not mean I ain't never had your boyfriend. Loyalty does not mean that, girl, I ain't never stole one of your tricks. Loyalty does not mean that, girl, while you was on stage dancing, girl, and girl, the man was looking at you, girl, and I didn't walk up to him, girl, and go to clapping my booty in his face, girl, and try to get him. Because, girl, that's them streets. Like I've always been a girl, whereas even if I did something, out of foolishness, out of disrespect with your boyfriend, with your trick or something like that, and not that this is a justification, but baby, the girls did it to me first. It was being like I was used to having a girl take my man from me, or take my sugar daddy from me, or take a boy I like from me. I was used to that happening. And so it was a culture of that. And so when I did it to other girls, I was at this point of believing that this what it is for us. Like we ain't going home to meet mama. Like we the side piece. Like ain't no real love for us. We just out here tricking with these niggas, playing. Like this. These niggas is. I like it's not real. Like so. At that point, it was like maybe it's love, maybe it's not. But I'm just trying to get me. And so I had developed that mentality, and I did some hurtful things to friends. But it was a culture of that. That was the culture. But at the end of the day, we still would fight for each other. We still would turn on these dudes for each other. We never let a man come between us to the extent to where we was falling out behind him. Because I still say this to this day. I love men. I enjoy having sex with men. I enjoy having relationships with men. I enjoy having conversations with men. I enjoy men making me laugh and men making me feel safe. And there's a lot of things that men can give me. But why I've always felt closer to my sisters is because I do not have to get on my knees and suck her dick or eat her pussy. I do not have to do I don't have to be. I've had sisters to give to me, to look out for me, to do for me, and they may say some foul shit out their mouth, but they've never sexually assaulted me. They've never sexually degraded me. They've never used their resources to bend me to their will in a sexual manner. And so when I look at relationships, I've always valued my relationships with my sisters and other feminine beings more than I value my relationships with these men that I lay up with. Because most men, if they do anything for you, the goal is to get in your pants. The goal is to get you to submit to them. The goal is to conquer you. Now, with your sisters, that's not the goal. And when you so used to being conquered, when you're so used to submitting, when you've been indoctrinated to feel like submission and being conquered is a norm for you, you will turn on your sister because you're bought and sold for. You're this man property, and you're cool with betraying your sister. You're cool with betraying your sibling because you're bought and paid for. Don't sit up and complain about patriarchy if that's you. Don't sit up and complain about misogyny if that's you. Don't sit up and complain about sexism if that's you. Now, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but one thing that I've never done was turn on my sister completely, just throw her away behind some dick. Cut you off. I ain't messing with you no more. I done had girls that have come on to my boyfriends multiple times. My boyfriend came and told me, and I would never even confront her. Why? He told me. I knew what was going on. Why am I going to confront her? Long as I know he ain't gonna do it, because I know that a lot of my sisters have been indoctrinated. When we always talk about how men sexualize us, and we always talk about how men look at us, but we have a male side too. Mine came a lot into balance after I had my sex change, but some of us girls out here with a nutsack full of testosterone, we look at men and that gaze, just because you got a wig and some titties and some silicone work done, your gaze is still that same male gaze that we talking about in society. When we talk about the male gaze, a lot of these trans women, a lot of these gay men, a lot of these girls that's non-binary and all of that, even some sex changes. Because I'm not going to say every sex change get her shit together and don't look at men like a piece of meat. Because I catch myself to this day when a man walk past. Ooh, we look at them cakes. Ooh, look at that dude. Ooh, you see that print? Ooh, Lord, look at him. Ooh, I let him da da da. But I don't never say it out loud. I don't get to the point to where if I speak loud and I compliment a man loudly, it is gonna be respectful. It's not gonna be like, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be like, But they'll be knowing what I be talking about. I had a daughter. May God Goddess, wherever her soul is on this journey, bless her on her journey wherever she is, if she been reincarnated or whatever. But she used to always say, like when we saw a cute man, she'd be like, "I do it." And so, like, if I see a really, really fine man or something like, and he walk past, and I'd be like, I do it. Like, I won't say it loud enough for him to know I'm talking to him, but I'd be like, I do it. Like that. And so, and so now I got like this little joke because what you call it on that song. She said find somebody else to do it. So I always say find somebody else to do it, and I'd be like find somebody else to do it. I will. I'll do it. Me. I'll do it. Me. I'll do it. Oh yeah. Me. So like I be giving that, but like it's not like I'll just compliment him and tell him that he's handsome or like if he's really like, and 9 times out of 10 it's never a person who is not paying me no attention at all. Like if he's not paying me no attention at all, I'm not going to get his attention to tell him that he looks good. If I see him eyeballing me or looking at me, then hey, I will give him a compliment then because he's acknowledged me. But if he has not acknowledged me, I don't give a damn what he looked like. I'm not going to go out of my way to let him know that I think he's attractive because he doesn't need his ego stroked anymore. If he ain't even noticed me, then we already know where his ego is. So why am I gonna go out of my way, be thirsty to give him a compliment? That's just not how I'm set up. So, I understand where my sisters, a lot of us are still in that place of where we need validation from men. We need men to see it for us. We need men to tell us, girl, we need men to tell us that we fish. We think that plucking boys, we think that getting dick in our, we think that getting, pounced. We think that, attractive men wanting to have sex with us. We think them wanting to take their aggressions on us, them wanting to just them wanting to use us for gratification. We think that that's the T. We still in that frame of mind where we feel like, oh, he want me. I plucked over you. I got him. But what does he want you for, mama? Is he gonna speak to you tomorrow? Would he show up at a rally? Would he care if you got died? Would he care if you died? Would he put some money on your books if you went to jail? Would he take you to go and fill out a job application? Would you ever meet his family? Like just because he will screw you in the shadows don't mean that he would acknowledge you or stand up for you in the light. And so many of my sisters, we wonder why, in the march nobody showed up for the trans people, and that's because we've been indoctrinated by society to accept this culture of being with other people who are literally sexually assaulting us. And that's why when Milan said Black trans lives matter, it meant so much because a lot of Black indigenous trans people don't know how much you matter. A lot of Black indigenous women don't know how much you matter. And that's what gagged me, while I'm on this subject of talking about Black trans people. When I got recently turned down for a grant, and the grant requires you to have 75% trans leadership and or be working with 75% trans people. I think that's the language that they use. They said they denied me because I did not meet the 75% Black trans. Who else do y'all see me hanging around? Like I be looking on my page sometimes and I be like, girl, where's your white friends, girl? Where's your white girlfriends, girl? Where is the any other race, girl? Caucasian. I mean, girl, and white for me is culture, so anybody could be white if you ask me. But where's your Caucasian? Like, I got Caucasian sisters, but I don't really, spend time with them. I do have Caucasian sisters, but We'll never have time. She over here in this part of the world, and I'm over here in this part of the world. You in this part of the country, I'm in that part of the country. So, but who do I fuck with? Like I got a black female friends, black indigenous cisgender women friends, if that's the word you want me to use. I have them kind of friends, but I have a lot of, I network with a lot of black indigenous trans women. And so to say that I don't have enough relationships, or I'm not building with black trans women, like, if you gonna deny me of a grant, do better than that. Like, just say you don't want to give me the money. Just say you not ready to see me at the tables and in the spaces. You not ready for that. I get it. Y'all not. Some of y'all are not ready for what I'm about to bring. Some of y'all ain't ready, but y'all need to get ready, because you ain't finna stop me from coming. You need to get ready, because I'm coming anyway. You need to get ready, because baby, you can't stop what the rocket's cooking, baby. She on her way, boo. She on her way, baby. Period. Anyway, let me light this candle, because I done talked for long enough. It's been almost an hour. Y'all know I don't be liking to talk forever on these lives. And I'm glad that I was able to get this out without crying, because this was, some vulnerable things that I shared. And like I said, the book really just kind of touches on a lot of things. Like, I don't go into detail about a lot of things in this book. Um, some things I do go into detail about. But this was my first book. My mother wants me to help her write her book. And I also want to put out another book, and my next book is going to be. But this one was the foundation. So I wanted it to be, when you lay in the foundation, you want to be very thoughtful about that foundation, because everything that you build on that, this is the roots right here, honey. This is the roots. This the roots. This is the roots. And this is my first written, published intention that I've put out into the world. And I wanted it, like, this wasn't about, even though I spent $2,500 to have this published, this wasn't about making money off the people. This was about healing myself and healing those people who are ready to start healing, who are ready to start doing their work, who are ready to come, who are ready for somebody to hold a branch down over their hole, so that they could get pulled up out of that quicksand and move forward, so that we could start to evolve, so that we could start to transcend, so that we could start to ascend, and so that we could start to portal into different dimensions, so that we could start to be those beings that we've always had the capacity to be, becoming purple, owning your masculine and your feminine within yourself, and creating a world, being self-propelled beings that can create from your own spiritual womb. Because just because I don't have a physical womb doesn't mean that I don't have a spiritual womb, doesn't mean that I can't summon things here. Like I said again, maybe not the pitter patter of little feet, but I can open portals to bring new frequencies here, new ways of thinking, new ways of healing, new ways of thriving, new ways of existing, new ways of creating community. You know what I'm saying? New ways of, not even new, because there's nothing new under the sun, but just bringing back those ways in which we lost, helping to remember who we are. And so you have to start to do that work. You have to start to do that healing work. So this book is not about me getting rich off y'all. This book wasn't written with those intentions, because if it was, it would have been salacious, and I would have drugged people. And then I would have invested thousands of dollars in getting it promoted. And baby, people love drama. This world love drama. But that's not what this book is about. This book is about laying a foundation. This is the roots to the tree. Now that next book, I don't know what to tell y'all, because I got some more I need to get off my chest. Amen. But anyway, As above, so below. As within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. Whether we are big or small, short or tall, light or dark, we are all a part of the grand design. Therefore, we are divine. A man, a woman. Lilin, Lila. Find your way.